This is the Tri-State Time Machine, brought to you by Alex R. White, PLLC, at SueDistractedDriver.com. Each week, your host, Vanessa Hankins, and her guests share memories and stories about the past, the present, and the future of the Tri-State area. That's West Virginia, Kentucky, and the Ohio areas. If you used to live here, or you currently live here, you're going to catch yourself saying out loud, "Wow, I remember that." Now, here's Vanessa.
Today we are talking all things food, acting, some wrenches that were thrown in the way along that road, and why Huntington, because you know that topic is always our main concern here, is why Huntington. So our guest today is Brock Thompson. Brock, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. You want to introduce yourself a little bit about what you do and your background?
Sure. So yes, my name is Brock Thompson. I do a lot of different things, but primarily I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a singer, songwriter, musician, actor, and the list really does go on.
I was going to say, you've got a lot of things in your pocket there.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So let's talk about your entrepreneurships. Let's talk about the restaurants. You've got Starvin Arvin's, and you do that with your father, is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your menu and how that came about and what you like about that particular restaurant.
Well, actually, we could jump over to how it all started, which is with the Peach Cobbler Factory.
Okay, so it started there?
Yes.
Okay, so I had it backwards.
Yeah, so that restaurant is coming up on 3 years old, I believe, this coming June 1st.
Fantastic.
Was when we opened 2022.
And that's right beside Midway, correct?
It's actually moved.
Oh, okay.
That's where we put Starvin Arvin's in.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So we opened that in 2022, though, right there, though, like where you said.
That location. Okay.
Yes, and that was a smash hit.
Yeah, it was wild. People were waiting in line, like long lines to get in there. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
We even, unfortunately, had to turn some people away at the end of the day just because, the line, it never stopped.
Right,
so
for sure. That's a good problem to have.
Have a last car type of situation in the drive-through, like,
you're pulling some like Austin's ice cream kind of stuff. Like, okay, the line's too long. We've got to cut it off here.
Yeah, so that was a brand new franchise at the time. A friend of ours named Greg George, he's from Huntington. He's also the CEO of Peach Cobbler Factory, and he reached out to my dad and asked him if he would be interested in a franchise of this new concept. And it was the 10th location of the concept, brand new. A lot of things still not figured out about it at the time, but we went into it. And now there's 115 locations.
So you guys were on the ground floor of... That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. I had no idea. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, so we built that up, and I actually worked with Greg for several months. And then, like you said, we opened another restaurant along with it.
Gotcha.
Called Starvin Arvin's. We moved Peach Cobbler Factory up the road to Route 60.
Route 60, okay.
Yeah, in the former Paradise Donuts location where it lives now. And that's been nice. It's really expanded on the menu, too. We started out with about maybe a couple dozen products, and now the menu has almost 100 items on it, believe it or not.
Wow.
We've got so many new things. Like
I was looking at the websites for both restaurants, and it's... I don't know what time is it. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sitting here thinking I'm ready for some vegetable soup and some cookies.
Yes. Yeah, we've really expanded on it. We've got some new products. Our cheesecakes just came out. 24 flavors of cheesecakes, which is crazy, right?
That's pretty big around here because, as you know, a lot of people travel to like the big malls in Lexington, Louisville, places like that to go to the Cheesecake Factory.
That's right.
So that's nice to have that option around here.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool how much our economy in the last couple of years, I know, depending on who you ask, they would say it's gone down, but I think our options as far as a city have gone up tremendously.
Oh, yes. Especially in restaurant business, right?
Yes. So tell me what your number one seller is at Starvin Arvin's. What would be like if no one had ever heard of you before, came into town, what would you suggest they have?
Well, the number one seller by far is the chicken and dumplings.
Okay, which looks delicious.
Yeah, it's a big seller. My personal favorite is probably number 2, and it's the meatloaf.
Okay.
That's a good one. But the whole menu sells well. I think we've got 10 items, like 10 entree items, and then sides and things like that.
Thing. So the whole model of Starvin Arvin's is Southern Comfort, right?
Yep, comfort food quick is our tagline.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I didn't know that.
We try to make a cross between like the type of menu that Cracker Barrel has, but the service that Chick-fil-A has, for example, and put that together. So it's quick.
Yeah, nice
and
mesh.
Convenient, but it's also food that you can't get at any fast food chain.
Right, absolutely. And, I didn't realize that there were so many options for Starvin Arvin's. It went until I was looking at the website, and I'm just like scrolling along, and I'm in my own world, and I'm editing another podcast as I'm scrolling, and I was just like, oh my gosh, why haven't I ate here yet? Because I have to be honest, I've never ate at either one, just because I am a creature of habit. So I am a eat lunch at home gal, and my husband has made me a eat breakfast at home gal as well. So
I'll probably find you a coupon.
That'll work for me. But I mean, everyone that I know, that's what's so funny about it, is everyone that I know is a go-to. Like, they love both places. We have a lot of, I was telling you before we started recording, we have a lot of mutual friends, friends of your mother's and your father's and things like that. And I hung out with a much older crowd. So a lot of our tailgating friends and stuff are friends of your parents. And so I've sampled some things because they've been at tailgates events and things like that, but I've never actually gone to the restaurants.
Yeah, I've been.
So that's on my to-do list.
I've been to your friends' tailgates.
We have a good time.
Yeah.
We have a really good time.
Yeah, they get 3 spaces rented, not just one.
It's a wild time. We have a really good time. Shout out to Monica and Jerry. They're the best neighbors. You guys have heard about them time and time again. So let's talk a little bit about your music and acting career, because I think that's pretty cool. Because how old are you?
I'm 25.
So you're 25, and you've got all these things in your pocket, but you've had success already, and you had it at a very young age. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I've been a musician since started when I was about 12, 13.
Oh wow, yeah.
Wasn't too good starting out, but that's how everyone goes, right?
Right,
exactly. You gotta make your way with it, right? But I recorded my first songs at 18 in a local studio, and that was just kind of knocking the dust off,
Gotcha.
Just getting started with it. And then the next year, I went to Franklin, Tennessee, with a friend of mine that was going to school at a studio there, and helped me to record an EP there, 6 new songs. So that was my first step into like professional recording.
Yeah. When I was, because I Google all my guests, so fair warning, if you ever come on the show, I'm going to Google you and see what I can find out about you. I saw that you were on, I like to find local stuff more than I do like anything on a big stage or anything like that. So
Sure.
I had seen that you were on, I think it was like the First at 5, WSAZ.
Yeah.
And you had performed live, and my sister had never heard of you before. So she was like, who is that singing? I was like, actually, it's this young kid that's from, I think, I said, I'm assuming Spring Valley area. And she was like, wow, his voice is really good. And I was like, yeah, and he was really young when he did this. I was like, so.
I can't believe that. I was 19 when I did that.
Oh, that's cool.
It was my first time on TV, and I was very nervous.
You didn't look nervous, so good for you. You didn't look it.
I held still.
That's funny. I get really nervous every time I do WSAZ. I think it's because there's so many cameras.
Yeah.
They're all over the place, so you never know which one they're getting you with.
They don't tell you where to look.
No.
You just kind of look off forward into space,
Yes, Absolutely. Absolutely. So your music career kind of came to a halt when you had as I referred to, a wrench thrown in your program.
That's right.
So you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's a long story, but I'll make it short.
Okay. We've got time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's called Spasmodic Dysphonia.
Okay.
To the listeners out there, the person you may know the most that has it would be Robert Kennedy Jr.
Which he's kind of been known lately for that, because everybody wants to know what's up with his voice.
Yep, he's in the news. He's on TikTok, and he's
Right.
everywhere. He's really in the spotlight right now with things he has going on, and so everyone's like, "What's wrong with that guy's voice? He sounds
Right.
like he smoked 1,000 packs of cigarettes."
Right,
and everything
exactly. He sounds like Uncle Joe.
Yeah. So he and I both at one point sounded a lot worse, and certainly couldn't do a podcast like this.
Right.
And how it all started was when I was 21. So like I said,
That happened quickly in your career.
Yeah, very. Yeah.
Wow.
I was, right before that, 19, I had been playing fairs and festivals. I played at the Paramount for my first time, which
I've seen that online.
very thankful I got to do that.
Yeah.
And a lot of things were going well. And then COVID hit, right? So that was halt for everybody. And then, about less than a year later, I lost my voice one day, just for a minute or two.
Yeah.
And a friend noticed it and said, "What's wrong with you, man? You sound really weird." And I was, I don't know, and just kind of brushed it off.
Right, just thinking maybe you've worked too hard. Or
Yeah, just came back, and I was like, that's fine. And then it happened later that day, and then it happened again, and then it happened the next day, and then it was all day long. And
How scary was that at the moment
that
it was happening?
I didn't know what was wrong.
Yeah,
and
I would be terrified.
I thought I would get over it in a day or two.
Right.
But you figure it's a cold or something, a really weird cold
Right.
that makes you not be able to talk. But
Right.
I'm like, yeah, this is just like anyone that gets sick. You figure you're going to get over it.
Get over
right?
it in a day or two, right?
Yeah. So that didn't happen. I went to an ENT, and they said, "Oh, you just have some muscle tension, where like the muscles in your voice box are just constricting a little too much. You need to go to speech therapy."
Okay.
So I went to speech therapy for 6 or 7 weeks, and nothing happened. Nothing
was
improved.
getting better. Yeah.
Yeah. So that happened, and then we went to another speech therapist, and I went to a physical therapist, and I went to acupuncturist, and I went to this doctor and that doctor.
Anywhere that would take you,
Yeah, and nothing worked.
And not to interrupt you, but it's pretty rare for men to get this disease, right?
It's very rare.
It's more common in women. I mean, it's rare in general, but it's more rare for men to get it than women.
It's most common in women over, I think, 50 or 60, something like that.
That's what I read, I think.
So that's part of what took so long to get a diagnosis. Is they said, "Oh, you're 21."
You're so young, yeah.
That's people like you don't get that.
Well, I think I read somewhere that it usually you get it after 30, anywhere from 30 to 60 is when it
Right.
like sets in. So they probably wasn't even on their radar of that could be wrong with you.
Right, and I even suggested it because I'm a researcher, and my first speech therapist said, "Oh, you could have that. You never know."
Right.
But I would suggest it to the doctors, and they would all say, "No
you never
way."
know what you're talking about.
They're very
Right.
stern about it too.
Yes,
They're like,
they are
"You do not
very-
have that. You need to focus on this.
Yes, just
do
keep,
your speech
keep
therapy."
going to therapy.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I'm like, I up here I know.
Yeah,
that's
you're
not
like,
going to
you know
work.
what's coming, right?
Yeah, so a year of that, almost to the week.
Oh, how frustrating.
I traveled to Nashville 7 weeks in a row for Monday and Tuesday, and I was doing a physical therapy with their people at Vanderbilt, and then they referred me to their ENT, and then it took about 3 hours there, and then their doctor that worked with all the big artists in the world when they had voice problems came in, and there was about 3 guys in lab coats that came in behind her all at the same time.
Like, oh no, what's
I looked at my
happening?
dad and I said, "This ain't good."
Yeah, this isn't good.
Yeah, so she told me she thinks I have spasmodic dysphonia, and that was really, she was confirming something I already figured.
Right.
That no one
That
else
you had
would.
already researched.
Yeah, so she said you can get Botox injections in your voice, and so that's what we did a few weeks later, thankfully, and I've been doing that ever since, and I've improved along the way, and we've kind of dialed in the dose, and my voice has improved along with the injections and stuff. And
Now, when you sing, does it strain it and make it worse, or?
It's just it's I don't have as much. I get fatigued easier.
Okay.
I don't
gotcha.
have as much longevity in my voice.
Right.
So people ask, "Hey, are you going to be singing again? Are you going to get your band back together?" Or things
Right.
like that. And my answer to that right now is that I'm going to continue recording every chance I get,
Right.
because I can step in, do a take,
Yeah.
and
Take a
step
break.
out and take a
Right.
break. But to get up and do a standard
show.
90-minute set is not feasible.
Right.
It just starts to get really difficult, and I wouldn't be able to do it the
Well,
right
and
way.
it wouldn't be worth it to lose your voice for days on end, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's very fatiguing. It really doesn't. It doesn't hurt physically though, because it's just the neurological signals,
Yeah.
right? So it's just like the worse the spasms are, it's like walking around and lifting weights all day, but for your
Oh, yeah.
voice,
So for your
right?
voice,
So you
yeah.
imagine you're doing curls all day with
Yeah.
your voice.
You're
At the
wearing
end of the
that
day,
muscle
you're
down.
completely worn out.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm
that's the
sure.
best analogy I could give you
Yeah,
for that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So now, has that affected your acting career, or did the acting come after the music since you weren't able to sing as much anymore?
The acting came after, actually. I aspired to be an actor, like really on the back end of singing, right? I wanted to be an artist, to be a singer, and then to become an actor because of that.
Right.
Like there's a lot of people that do that. I thought that's really cool.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's fun.
Yeah, so it is fun. It's a great time, and I felt that I had a knack for it, and I just didn't know how that would go. But luckily, I have a friend. I think you've had him on before. His name's Dylan Smith.
Yes.
He is a really good friend of mine.
I love Dylan.
Yeah,
he's a fun time.
He's a wild man.
He is, and I love everything about him.
Yeah, he is a director, and he went to school with me. He's a year older than me, and so we've been friends for a long time. And he was doing different music videos and films,
right.
and I volunteered for a few of them, and then got to do more and more acting with him, and we did that Ghost of Fifth Street Hill film together.
Which that one was really fun. I did not anticipate the very ending with Dylan rolling up in the Jeep.
Yeah.
And I was wondering how he was going to work himself into this one.
yeah, that was
fun.
cool. It's an old folk tale. Let's talk about that. It's cool. It's an old folk tale from real Herald Dispatch newspaper.
We actually did an episode on it, so some of our listeners may be aware. But go ahead.
Well, I wasn't really sure how true it was because it's a folk tale,
right?
Which really isn't all that true most of the time,
right?
But when I would post about this film, people would comment on Facebook real experience that they had.
People swear that they've seen it.
Yeah.
People swear by it.
A little bit too much to make you say, oh, this is fake. It's like, wow, okay, I was shocked. We just made a film on it, and they're telling us.
Yeah.
But we just went off of the articles that we had, know. And it was broken up into three pieces. It was a cab driver in the 1940s era, and then it zaps to the 1970s, and there's this cowboy in a Chevelle.
Which you did great, yeah.
You might recognize him.
Yeah.
And then it zaps to it was going to be the 90s, but it's modern day because he had an iPhone, right?
Yes.
So it zaps to modern day, and it's just these different decades. People have the same experience.
Having the interaction with her. Yeah, I think it's super cool. And what's funny is when I was doing research for having you on, my little sister had never heard of the Ghost of Fifth Street Hill, which I found hilarious because I graduated from Chesapeake High School over in Ohio. She graduated from Wayne. So, I thought her more than I would have heard the ghost stories of the Fifth Street Hill ghost and all that, and she had not. So she watched that little film with me, which those of you at home, you can easily just Google it and you can find it on YouTube.
Yep.
And it's a cute little film. Well, I don't know if cute's the word, but it's cool to see the folklore come to life, I guess.
Yeah.
It's really cool for that part. And the little girl that played the bride in the movie, she did really, really well. She was so stoic and just... it was wild how she did not break character whatsoever, which, I know that's what actors are supposed to do, but in short films like that, local, you don't think that she's going to be so stoic, Yeah,
we had some really great actors and actresses, and I went to school with her, too, actually.
Oh, okay.
Her name's Lily Adkins, and she did a great job of that.
She really did.
They spent hours and hours on her makeup and hair.
Oh, I guarantee it.
And it was a big to-do.
It was definitely period-worthy. I loved the part where she's like, "Mister, I haven't worn a jacket in 9 years." Was it 9 years or something like that?
Yeah.
And I was like, she did not break at all. She didn't break her sight line, anything. I was like, she's doing it. She's doing it big.
It's a lot of work for 7 minutes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Is there a time in your life, when you were younger, that you look back and you were like, yeah, I was destined to be an actor, singer, and all these things? Or do you think it just kind of stumbled upon you and found you as you found it?
Well, I believe when I was 16 or 17, I really had decided at that point that I was just going to be a musician.
Yeah.
And
made up your mind it's happening.
Yeah, my mom's like, you got to go to college. You got to figure something out. So I looked
That's
through.
what us moms do.
I looked through all the majors, at Marshall, and I was like, I don't want to do any of this.
Yeah.
I just want to play guitar.
I just want to play guitar, Mom.
So I had decided in some form I wanted to be a creative and mainly a singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
And obviously things have changed along the way, but I still have that passion and belief that that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
Long term.
Well, and you can be creative long after life hits you in the face. Like you said, you are an entrepreneur now, but that gives you more freedom to do with your spare time the things that you love.
And it has. And I feel like even though these things have happened to my voice mainly, luckily I've got a really great treatment and great doctors, and I've been able to still pursue, obviously, the things that I want to, and even be an actor, and I've not told anyone this yet, but I've recorded new music this year.
Oh, yay! Yeah.
That's going to be coming out over the next few months.
Where is the best place to find your music? Are you on all the the apps?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm on Apple Music, Spotify,
okay,
YouTube, etc.
So everywhere you can listen to the podcast, you can listen to Brock's music as well.
That's absolutely right. Just my name. It's just Brock Thompson. That's the name of the band.
Gotcha.
Put a lot of thought into it.
Now, how many players do you have in your band?
I usually would have 4.
Is that the correct verbiage, players?
Yeah, well, yeah, musicians, players.
Musicians, players.
Yeah, usually when we would play live, it would be just drums, bass, electric, and myself playing acoustic. But in the studio, it's a lot more because we bring people in and do overdubs, and we track over top of tracks. And so, for example, on these new songs, there's fiddle tracks on the songs.
Oh, I love a fiddle.
And I'm a huge fan of the Steel Drivers, which is Chris Stapleton's original bluegrass band.
Yeah.
And I luckily was able to get a contact for the other founding member, which is Tammy King, and she plays fiddle on all my songs.
Okay.
And always has. Every song you hear of mine that has fiddle.
Are these people all local, or did you find them from all over? Okay.
Yeah, you can just reach out to them, and we send the tracks, and she records over it, and she sends it back. And I've done that for several instruments.
I swear, our world intrigues me so much because the magic of the future, essentially, all these things we can do without even being in the same room with other people, I think is so cool.
Exactly. You can get world-class recording quality. You really could make a song without a studio. You can just hire it out and piece it out, and you just need a place to record your vocals if you're the singer, and it's really neat.
I was going to say, my brother is a drummer, and he literally will sit in his bedroom and do his part and sell it to other people. Like, he'll do his part of the song, and he sells it to artists to use.
Yeah,
and he's just in his bedroom at home with our mom and dad.
Exactly.
So it's super cool what we are able to do. We talked about the Ghost of Fifth Street Hill, but let's talk about a little bit of the Power of Us, just because full disclosure, it is piss pouring the rain here in Huntington. So we're having lots of flooding and things like that. So the Power of Us is kind of about that, but in North Carolina. So do you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, so
at least what the story is about, what the movie is about.
Yeah, so there were the floods in western North Carolina, right? And the story of the Power of Us is about the West Virginia coal miners that actually went down to western North Carolina to help cut out a road using their own equipment, their own fuel, their own time, and completely unpaid because the government help, Department of Transportation, I don't know, I actually forget, but
something was left undone to some extent.
Yeah, they just weren't getting timely help, right? So, and what happened was there was a few key people that posted videos online, probably TikTok, YouTube, and said, look at this is crazy, and people are living in tents. Right. And so those miners from West Virginia, from somewhere in our state, took it upon themselves to trailer up all of their heavy equipment and drive down there and use all their gas and diesel fuel.
That's fantastic. I think that says a lot about the people of our state.
They cut out a road that was very long out of nothing, out of rubble. And what was it? It took them about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. That's what I know.
Yeah, that's crazy. I got to go to the premiere of the movie, and I was thankful to be there for that because I follow a few people on, like you said, TikTok, Instagram, things like that, that have really been champions of the whole, we need help, we're not getting the help that we need. And they're a little bit in the film, a few of the, well, they're not actors, but people who have kind of gone internet famous. And I say that with some air quotes. You guys at home can't see me, but internet famous people that were working to bring attention to it. So I think it's cool the power that social media can have to get the people in North Carolina help, but also I think that says a lot about our character as West Virginians, that these guys got together and went down there and took their own time, of course taking time off their own jobs and things of that nature to be there to cut out that road. I thought that was really cool. And that road was a game changer for those community members, because then they were able to get out and get water and get other things that they needed. So that was instrumental in them getting back on their feet, which they're still not there yet, but like I said, it was a key part of them getting on the straight and narrow of coming back.
And on top of that, they were treated poorly for being there to do that.
Yes, they were kind of met with a lot of resistance from the local government.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, so we've talked about a little bit about your disorder. We've talked a little bit about your music and acting career and the restaurants, which I'm going to have to go get lunch today. Is the flooding going to affect your hours today? Because I'm probably going to have to go after looking at the menus.
It depends on what our team does. You never know.
You never know, right. So our big thing here at Tri-State Time Machine is Huntington and the base of Huntington. So you're a Spring Valley boy, so Westmoreland. And if you ask anyone, I am a somewhat newcomer. I think we've lived in Westmoreland now for going on 10 years. So I still feel like I'm a baby Westmorelander. But you do not confuse the West End with Westmoreland. It is two separate, very separate locations for anyone that grew up in the area. And the big question always is for our guests, why Huntington? Why do you choose to stay here? Because a lot of people don't choose to stay here. They choose to run off and start life somewhere else.
Well, why Huntington? So I've grown up here, obviously, my whole life. I'm 25 now, and I've seen the city progress, especially from the time I was 10, 15 years old, and the downtown has really grown, and I've seen those businesses flourish. And my dad grew up here too, and he's a businessman, and I couldn't do a lot of what I've accomplished so far without him. He's been my mentor along the way.
Is he like your best friend?
Yes.
That's cool to have that with your father.
Yes. A lot of people need a mentor, right? I think everyone needs a mentor.
Absolutely.
It's really nice to, grow up with one.
Yes, for sure, to have that person like right in your home, have that access.
Yeah. So I'm very close to him, so he keeps me around.
Yeah, for sure. Now, is Mom a local? Or did she? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
She grew up here too.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're both from here.
And Mom, what is she a flight attendant? Am I remembering that correctly?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
For American.
I was going to say she's had some crazy stories at one of the tailgates that we were at about some things that have happened on the planes and like layovers and stuff. And I was like, what a fun career that she's had. It seems like. Yeah. Now, what did Dad do before getting into entrepreneurship?
He's a lot like me, or I should say I'm a lot like him.
Okay.
He's done a little bit of everything.
Okay.
He started out, when he was younger, he was in the grocery store business. He was a manager at, I believe it was where the Foodland used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was named Tradewell,
Tradewell, yeah.
And so he managed that store a long time, and then he went into... he's been in several businesses. He's been in carpet cleaning, plumbing, restaurant business before.
So he's all over the place.
Yeah, he's been
That's
in.
cool.
He's owned a grocery store at one time.
All right.
He owned a Foodland one time for a few years. So he's done a little bit of everything, and he's very entrepreneurial. That's where I get it from.
Yeah, that's really well, and how great to have that as a role model, like you said, to have that right there in your pocket to have access to. Now you. I guess not single-handedly because you've got your dad investing, obviously, but you've got, is it 3 restaurants now? Is there 2 of the one?
We actually consolidated.
Oh, okay.
So what we did there was, with Peach Cobbler Factory, we did have 2 for a moment there.
So I'm not completely crazy.
Right. But what we did was we opened the new one and kept the original so that there would be no closed days, basically.
Oh, that's nice.
So we never closed, but we moved. So most restaurants would move; they would take a month and be closed.
Off, right?
So what we did was we had extra equipment and we just kept them both open and moved that way.
Nice. Okay, so you've got 2 investments in the community.
Mm-hmm.
Do you anticipate that growing?
I anticipate our Starvin Arvin's restaurant to grow.
Okay.
We currently have 1 location, and we plan to open more and come up with several stores and maybe eventually a franchise opportunity for across the nation.
Oh, that's fun. How fun. And I think how cool, because we in Huntington here, we're always like, oh, we're finally getting a yada yada, whatever it may be.
Right.
But now it can be like, oh, they're getting a Starvin Arvin's from Huntington.
That's right.
Which is really cool to have it on the flip side. So we're thankful for you being here and sharing all this with us, Brock. Is there anything that you want? Well, you mentioned music.
Mm-hmm.
We will watch out for that. Do you have a date or anything like that, a rough guesstimate of when we could look out for that?
You'll hear the first song in March.
In March.
And then we'll be releasing I have 3 right now, and I'll be working on more, but we'll be releasing the other 2 6 weeks at a time.
Okay.
And I'll be working on music videos, visuals, things like
Fun.
that too. So there's a lot to come with that. I'm going to be revamping my music
You
career
be working with
this.
Dylan on your videos?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
I'll have to follow that. I creep on Dylan all the time because he's always into something cool.
Yeah.
Like he's always into something really cool. He's got the videos going at the Foundry Theater now, the movies.
Yes.
And all that. So super cool. Well, we appreciate you being here and sharing all your expertise with us and telling us your story.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. All right, guys, we are out of here.
Thanks for listening to the Tri-State Time Machine, brought to you by Alex R. White, PLLC, at SueDistractedDriver.com. If you have a memory you want Vanessa to talk more about, just send her an email at tstm@mail.com or post a comment on the Tri-State Time Machine Facebook page. Did you like the episode? Be sure to share it with friends and family. It's the only way we can continue this fun work that we do. You can find a link in the show notes that you can use to share it. And be sure to let our sponsors know you like the podcast as well. Their contact information can be found in this episode's show notes.